Hello everyone, welcome to the TriPoint Report. We've just received breaking news that President Trump is moving to revoke the legal status of over 500,000 immigrants. It has been an unsettling few weeks for immigrant communities across the United States. With this sudden policy change and an executive order targeting Biden-era immigration programs, President Trump is now preparing to remove legal protections from more than 530,000 immigrants who believed they had a secure, lawful path forward. These individuals, many with U.S. sponsors, jobs, and children enrolled in schools, are now being told they need to prepare for departure. People who arrived with proper documentation, followed legal procedures, and started building their lives in America are suddenly facing the threat of losing everything. Work permits could disappear, green card pathways could collapse, and dreams of permanent residency are quickly slipping away. Today, we're diving deep into this dramatic shift in U.S. immigration enforcement, exploring what changed, who will be affected, and why this is happening now. We'll also discuss what this could mean for the future of legal immigration in the United States. If this topic matters to you, stay with us until the end for the complete breakdown. And if you find this information useful, subscribing and turning on notifications will ensure you stay updated on all developments. A sweeping change is underway in U.S. immigration policy. For hundreds of thousands of immigrants, the foundation of their lives is shaking. President Trump has announced that legal status for over 530,000 immigrants who previously received temporary permission to live and work in the U.S. will be revoked. This decision is set to take effect on April 24, 2025. For many, this isn't just about losing a piece of paper. It represents the unraveling of stability and security. These immigrants were lawfully admitted, vetted, and sponsored, and they began integrating into American society. Now, they're being told they must leave. This move follows an executive order signed by President Trump on his return to office, calling for the termination of all categorical humanitarian parole programs. Trump's position is that these programs were unlawfully expanded under the Biden administration and undermined opportunities for American workers. In accordance with this order, the Department of Homeland Security has announced that individuals under these parole programs will now face expedited removal. This fast-track deportation process bypasses the lengthy court proceedings many immigrants rely on for a fair hearing. The immigrants impacted had been granted temporary legal status under a Biden administration initiative known as the CHNV program for Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The goal of the program was to create legal migration pathways and reduce illegal border crossings. However, DHS officials now claim that eliminating these programs is necessary to restore lawful immigration enforcement and protect public resources. But for the individuals and families directly affected, the stakes are enormous. Many of these immigrants have spent the last 2 years legally working, paying taxes, and raising their children in American schools. They are business owners, caregivers, construction workers, and farm laborers. Most of them believed they were on a clear, lawful path to stability and perhaps eventual permanent residency. Now, they face painful choices. Some may attempt to leave voluntarily, others may enter legal limbo, and some will fight their removal in court, though the chances of success are slim, given the enormous backlog in immigration cases. Immigration attorneys warn of impending chaos. Nicolette Blazer, a legal expert, described the situation as a disaster in the making, with hundreds of thousands of people having their legal presence stripped away overnight, most without any clear alternative. The U.S. immigration court system is already overwhelmed, with over 2.5 million active cases, and the addition of hundreds of thousands more could paralyze an already strained system. At the same time, immigrant rights groups and Democratic lawmakers are pushing back. Karen Tumlin, the director of the Justice Action Center, has called the move a betrayal. In her words, the administration is going back on promises made to immigrants and their sponsors, causing widespread fear and confusion for families who had been working hard to integrate and follow the rules. This fear is spreading fast across social media, within church communities, and at legal clinics. People are desperate for answers. Will their work permits still be valid? Can their children remain in school? Is there a risk of immigration enforcement showing up at their door? The Trump administration remains firm, with DHS officials accusing the previous administration of misleading the public and allowing migrants to compete for jobs that should go to American workers. Supporters of this rollback argue that these parole programs blurred the lines between humanitarian relief and economic migration, creating unsustainable pressure on public resources. But critics argue that the administration is targeting people who followed the rules, passed background checks, and came legally. The scope of this shift might extend beyond the 530,000 people currently affected. President Trump has also hinted that his administration is reviewing the status of approximately 240,000 Ukrainians who fled war and were granted parole in the U.S. Although no decision has been announced, humanitarian groups are alarmed at the possibility that these individuals could also lose legal status and face return to a war-torn country. Legal challenges are already underway. A coalition of U.S. citizens and immigrants has filed a federal lawsuit arguing that the administration failed to follow the required procedures under the Administrative Procedure Act. Legal experts say this case could reach the Supreme Court and may define the limits of executive power over immigration policy for years to come. The economic consequences of mass deportations are also beginning to surface. Many of these immigrants work in industries facing critical labor shortages, such as agriculture, hospitality, home care, and construction. Business owners and labor advocates warn that losing this workforce could disrupt supply chains, increase costs, and worsen worker shortages in key sectors. Communities across the country are bracing for impact. School districts could see declining enrollments, small towns may lose vital workers, and families embedded in local communities could be torn apart. Social services are preparing for an increase in demand from families facing sudden upheaval. Supporters of the administration, however, believe that American jobs should prioritize American citizens and that the long-term impact on labor is overstated. As the April 24th deadline approaches, affected individuals are scrambling to find solutions. Some are turning to the CBP One app to schedule appointments and register for voluntary departure. Others are consulting attorneys to explore whether they qualify for asylum, family-based petitions, or other forms of relief. However, immigration law is complex, and not everyone will meet the requirements. Many will find themselves with no clear path forward, despite following the legal process and contributing to American society. The administration has made it clear that those who fail to leave voluntarily may face detention, deportation, and bans on future reentry. This dramatic reversal has sparked a larger conversation about the nature of legality, fairness, and consistency in U.S. immigration policy. What does it mean to follow the law when the rules keep changing? What happens to families who do everything right, only to have those rules rewritten? On one side, there are arguments for strong borders and strict enforcement. On the other side, there's a call for compassion, consistency, and honoring commitments made to those who played by the rules. The coming weeks will see lawsuits, emergency court motions, and intense political debate. But behind all of this are families in distress, lawyers working against impossible deadlines, and communities left to wonder what happens next. Will the courts step in? Will public pressure force a policy reversal? Or will this sweeping immigration shift move forward as planned? What is certain is that this is one of the most significant reversals in U.S. immigration policy in recent history, and the consequences are only beginning to unfold. That concludes today's report. Channel will continue to provide updates on visa information, immigration processing steps, visa requirements, forms, fees, and everything you need to know for your immigration journey. We will also keep covering visitor visas like B1 and B2, work visas like L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant categories like EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family-based visas. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next update. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel for more U.S. immigration news and updates.